Drain or dose. Audit your energy and elevate your artistry. Hi everybody, my name is Shell. I am a creative midwife and a performer. And in case you never heard of a creative midwife, it's because I created that term for what I do. I help women to master themselves through the power of chakra therapy. And as a creative coach, choreographer, dancer, I help them to do that by returning back to their creative center. Today, I'm going to speak about how your use of energy directly connects to your success as a creative. Everyone has the power to be a creative person. When I was studying in college for dance and choreography, get my BFA, I had a lot of people say, well, what are you going to do with that degree? You can't, that's not going to save the world. It's not going to get you far. And nowadays, everyone is a creative. Everyone is learning the power of creativity, whether it be through content, whether it be through their words, whether it be through, especially with the boom of social media, there's a lot more pull for people to see the power in their creativity. For the past decade, I have worked freelancing as a choreographer and performer. I have been able to see multiple pathways to create income from my creative power. I have choreographed in prestigious universities. I have choreographed in the projects in New York. I have taught so many people across the globe, and I have had the opportunity to work with celebrities. And through it all, I have learned that my ownership of my creative power and my dedication to my artistry always will make a way for me. And I also learned what it means when you burn yourself out and when you burn yourself down to the ground in order to make creative ideas come to light. So today, I'm going to teach you how not to do that so that when you move into 2026, you can move from your creative power in a way in which you don't burn yourself out. What's up, Los Cos? How are you? So the first thing that we want to be mindful of when we're talking about editing and auditing our energy is what we say yes to. Your yes is expensive. Your yes costs you more than what you think it does. The yes that you say to that reluctant meeting with a friend or reluctant meeting with an acquaintance is going to cost you gas. It is going to cost you mind power. It is going to cost you being in a place that you really don't want to be in. And it is going to cost you one of the most valuable resources, which is time. So when we say yes to things, when we're in a creative process and we're saying yes to this and yes to that and yes to this and yes to that, and then we get to the end of the month, we get to the end of the year, and we realize we didn't really make as much progress that we wanted to make in our own creative pursuits, is because you paid a cost that is way too big to pay back. It's way too big to restore. So be mindful of your yes. Be mindful of what you say yes to. Your yes should align with what you are moving towards, and then you're going to have to learn the power of no. My dance mentor used to always say, no is a complete sentence. So exercising your no where it is necessary is going to be extremely important. The next thing that robs your energy and takes energy away from your creative life force is overthinking. We in the West, America, and cousins across the pond who have the mentality of work capitalism, putting your creativity on the conveyor belt of productivity. We feel that we have to overthink everything. We have to think about how's it going to be? How's it going to be perceived? What are people going to think? What am I going to wear? How am I going to? And then by the time you even go into the creative process, it is tainted by your robbing your imagination of the very essence that it needs, which is clarity, which is the willpower to try the thing and see what happens. I can't tell you how many times I've been in spaces with people where they don't even take the first step because they are so in their head about so many different things that some of them can't eat, most of them actually, they will not find out until they actually do the thing. You're never going to be able to avoid all uncertainty. You're going to have to take a step at some point and learn along the way. You can be prepared. Now, don't get me wrong, you can prepare. But preparing is a physical action. It can be a physical action. It can be a mental action. It can be a spiritual action. But it takes some kind of forward progression. Sitting in your thoughts and thinking about it robs you of the energy. So be mindful of overthinking. The next one that I want to share are boundaries. We hear this terminology so many different ways, in so many different ways. We learn about boundaries. And boundaries is letting yourself know where you end and where that person begins. Where you end and where that emotional thing that's happening, that's trying to suck you in, ends, and where you begin. So knowing how far your capacity can go and how far it can take you, not always pushing you. Sometimes you will have to push the limits to get things done, but not always depleting yourself or waiting until you get too empty before you finally say no. And then by the time you're upset, you're stressed out, you're depleted, and it's not a pretty sight. So knowing your capacity will help you to honor your boundaries. It'll help you to know what you can say yes to and what you actually can afford energetically and what you cannot afford. It takes a lot of time to restore your energy once you go into depletion. If you've ever been through traumatic experiences, a breakup, or just have put a lot of energy into something, you know that it actually takes you a long time before you start to feel like yourself again, before you start to feel energy pumping through yourself again. So my advice is to not let yourself go that far, but to know where your limitations are. These are the ways that you know that you have depleted your energetic field for your creative power. You feel tired even after you rested. You start and you stop your projects. You can't get them done. You're constantly in pain. Your body is in pain. You're going through different body pains because the body keeps score. The body tells you what's going on. So if certain parts of your body are constantly hurting, it's letting you know something, right? It's not just physical. These things always start in the spiritual and then they come into the physical. So listening to the body is going to be important. You lack your intuitive connection, so you can't even listen to your intuition. Thank you for the love. You can't even trust your intuition because you don't even know how to connect to it. And your ideas feel heavy. So you may have a creative idea. What's up, Mixie? Sorry if I butchered name. You don't even know how to execute on the ideas that you have because they feel so heavy. So these are signs that you are completely depleted, and defeated. There you go. And it's time for you to restore your energy. It's time for you to give that back to yourself. And so how do you do that? If I'm going to talk about the problems, I got to talk about the solutions. And for those who just came into the room, we are talking about how to edit and audit your energy so that your creativity can thrive, so that you can elevate and go into the next level. You're going to do that by identifying your energy leaks. Where are the places where you're not honoring yourself and your boundaries? What are the things that you're saying yes to consistently that are draining you more than they are feeding you? Where are you giving your time to where it's not even really helping you to do what you need to do for your artistry, for your creative power, for your business, whatever it is that you are trying to create? Not trying, because we don't try, we just do. You either do it or you don't. So the thing that you are doing, the thing that you are actualizing into existence. The next thing that you want to start to do is to put energy investments back into yourself. So replacing scrolling with studying, scrolling with training. If you are trying to be an actor, if you are, oh, nice. Yes, I know I knew your name and then I didn't recognize what's up. And it's very early over there. I hope to see you again soon. I feel it. I've been feeling that tight pull to the Philippines. I feel like the land is calling me back. So soon come. But you want to be mindful of where you how you're utilizing your time. So if you were scrolling, if you were putting a lot of attention into things that just were leading to a dead end, then you want to start to replenish and put that energy into places that actually elevate your artistry. We think that we have so much time in a day. By the time you sleep, by the time you travel, by the time you eat, by the time you do the basic principles of life, there's time left, but but there's not always a whole bunch of time left. So we want to be mindful of how we use our time. And that means we have to take a honest look at it and be able to shift it. What's up? Sipale is in the house. And so, last but not least, the last thing that I will say is to multiply, to invest into things that help your creativity to grow. So instead of, getting that mocha latte every day for $5, maybe you're putting that $5 away so that you can go to a master class, or I really like to use that word very lightly, master class. But you can go to a workshop or a seminar, or you can go into an environment. There we go. An environment that actually feeds you and helps to keep you inspired, helps to keep you inspired. That is important. Inspiration is very important when we are auditing and looking at our artistry and how we want to elevate and take things to the next level. And sometimes it don't even have to do with your artistry. It could just be something that inspires you. Like if you're going and you're creating something, but you're bored out of your mind in your life, right? Then maybe it's time to reignite the inner child, so that the inner child has some way to be able to ignite that inspiration, to ignite that fresh energy in you, so that you feel inspired to go for your creative gifts, to really pour into your creative gifts. And so these are the ways in which we may deplete our energy. And these are the ways in which we can pour the energy back into ourselves. And so in 2026, if there has been an opportunity, a project, a creative pursuit that you're looking to go into, this is a perfect time for you to start to reevaluate how you're utilizing your energy. Like I said, it takes a long time to pour the energy back into yourself after you've been depleted. So be ahead of that and start to move in a way in which you have the energy, the time, and these are resources. We talk a lot about money as artists, and money is so important as artists, but your time and your energy and where you place your time and your energy and attention is also a resource too. And so we're squandering these resources before we even get to the creative process. Then, there's no momentum. Then it's just a continuation of a cycle. And you could already be a creative and you want to elevate yourself to the next level, right? So it's going to take, when people talk about locked in, is really grounded and based in. You need to be grounded in yourself and also honest with yourself. Where do I need to shift how I'm utilizing my time and my energy? How can I audit my energy so that I'm putting myself in the right momentum in the path for my elevation? Because longevity requires patience, it requires diligence, it requires grit, and you can't do that if you're depleted and you're over here doing stuff that has nothing to do with where you want to go, right? It's just robbing you of your life force. So once again, my name is Sanshao. I am a creative midwife, can be your creative midwife, and also a performer. And on Black Friday, I am hosting the Waymaker Workshop. We're going to go deeper into this. So I'm going to teach you how to make 4 to 6 figures off of your creative gifts, just utilizing freelancing. I have been freelancing for the past 15 years. I've learned a lot along the way. And so I'm going to teach you tools to help your personhood, to help your creative power, and to also bring more income into your life. So if this sounds like something that is for you, then go ahead and click the link in my bio. I will not be offering this workshop again. So, there's not going to be, I'll wait for the next one, another one of this. If you want to have a deeper dive into your creative power, then you will have to come into the Rebirth program, which you're more than welcome to do that if you're a woman ready to step into your full power and your creative power. But if you really want to get a taste and you want to get practical tools right now, this is a great entry point into that. So Friday, November 28th, 12 to 2. You can check out the link in my bio. And if you're interested in my creative ministry, you can check out the REBEARTH.org, REBEARTH, okay? The REBEARTH.org. But I hope y'all have a great Sunday, and until next time, peace.